Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 135 of Brunch Time. It is a very special episode. For those of you watching on the YouTube, we have completed our new studio. We'll make it sound official. We've completed our new little studio. We got our desk in, some more lights. I'm thinking it's looking pretty good, Sam. How do you feel about our new setup?
Dude, I'm loving it. It definitely beats the table trays we have been using since we started. We're just making more progress. We started audio only, moving up to a video. Now we got an official studio. So super excited about this, man.
There you go. Like you said, I mean, we in our recording sessions, we went from online, via Zoom in our on our own computers, then on tray tables. I was on a lawn chair. I was on a folding chair.
It was rough there for a little bit.
It was rough, but we finally figured it out. I'm super excited. But you heard from Sam already, and we are the N326 duo, and we got a great episode for you guys. NBA free agency has kicked off. We have gotten a lot of deals, so we cannot wait to get into some of the bigger ones, some big trades, of course. Both of our teams make trades, both of our teams making upgrades. We also got some drama in the soccer world. We have the Euros going on right now. You have the Copa America, the US. Not looking too great. They've already been eliminated in the Copa, which is borderline inexcusable. But we will have a guest on for that. Joseph Weinsinger will join us for that. So that'll be pretty fun. And then we're going to round it out. We're going to mix together two former segments that we've done here on the pod. If you guys remember, we used to do a Give Me Five where we just rank 5 things. And we also used to do a Mount Rushmore. Well, this time we are putting the two together and we are calling it a Give Me Five, but we're doing it a draft style in the style of a Mount Rushmore, but we're going to name 5 things, of course. So that one is going to be the Give Me 5 things you don't care about. So that one will be interesting. And of course, we end with questions, but all that and so much more on episode 135. But before we get to any of that, of course, we start with winners and losers. So Sam, over the last 2 weeks now, who is your winner?
Yeah, a lot of potential winners. I mean, we could always talk about Caitlin Clark beating Diana Taurasi's ass. But this dude is absolutely putting the world in the dirt, and that is Quincy Wilson. Quincy Wilson is a 16-year-old track athlete. The Olympic trials have been the past week, and he actually set the world under 18 400-meter record of 44.59 seconds. So yeah, he's really freaking fast. So fast, in fact, that he is gonna be a part of the U.S. men's 4x4 Olympic relay team, making him the youngest male track athlete to ever compete in the Olympics.
Yeah, he go fast.
Yeah, it was insane watching him at the Olympic trials. But yeah, shout out Quincy Wilson.
Shout out Quincy Wilson is right. For my winner, I'm gonna go with the NHL Draft, Sam. I don't know if you saw this, but this was freaking awesome. Obviously, we've been watching drafts for a long time, and we're also right at the time with the NBA draft. And you notice one thing we didn't say in our episode is the NBA draft, because it was an absolute snooze fest, and there were like 3 people that the average basketball fan knew, and it was crazy how bad of a draft this was, and just the production quality of it all. It just didn't compare to the NHL draft, which was set inside the Sphere in Las Vegas. Holy crap, that was awesome. You could totally see on them just all around. The surroundings were just a big jumbotron and it had the big board and it had the picks and when a person got drafted, the team logo and all the colors and everything. It was so damn cool, Sam, to see all of that. You now just imagine, because I'm not sure if it'll work for the in the NFL just because of the sheer amount of fans that show up. Imagine an NFL, like a big, like, no offense to the NHL, but like a big production, like an NFL or even a good NBA draft in that would be insane.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more and more drafts. I know UFC is going to host a fight there, so it'll be interesting to see what like a live sporting event looks in there. But I think the NBA definitely should look into that draft. But like you said, I don't think it'd work for the NFL with too much going on.
Probably, but that was awesome. It rocked. I just still there's a still picture, and it was right as about to start, and just the way the sphere is, and you just saw like the draft order was just like lined up vertically. It wasn't, it was just straight vertically, and it was like all the way up to the
Yeah.
top. It was nuts. It was a very very surreal picture. So that's the winner because it looked absolutely awesome. But of course, Sam, we gotta look on the negative side of things. Who was your loser of the
Yeah.
episode?
Yeah. A lot of potential losers here, but I'm going to group these two guys as the arrested athletes. Yes. The past 24 hours has been a little rough for these two guys. I'm talking about Ollie Gordon and Cameron Payne. Ollie Gordon, for those of you who don't know, Oklahoma State star running back, probably will be a Heisman hopeful this upcoming year. He was arrested for a DUI over the weekend in OKC. He was going 82 and a 65. He also had a open bottle of tequila and a open bottle of vodka in his car.
That's allowed, right?
Yeah, totally. And yeah, DUI is not great, not great. Cameron Payne's arrest might have been worse because he refused to give the officers his real name.
There you go. That's a good play.
He told his officer that his name was Terry Johnson.
Oh,
So he said, if you want to arrest me for giving you a fake name, congratulations. So, yeah, just two crazy arrests and notable names in their two sports. But yeah, not great look for these two guys for sure.
yeah, no doubt about that. He said, if you want to arrest me for a fake name, then congratulations. I mean, you're playing with fire there,
Yeah.
my friend, and obviously came back to bite him there. Yeah, I don't know if I'd heard that one before. That's a real interesting
That's
one.
yeah.
But for my loser, we're gonna go on to the soccer pitch. Obviously, we're going on a little bit later with some more in-depth analysis, but specifically VAR, Sam, because it is becoming a little bit of a problem, at least in my opinion. I'm not going to come out here and say I watch soccer on the daily basis, but I do enjoy international soccer a lot. And the VAR, of course, stands for video assistant referee. And in soccer, they use it for everything. They do a foul check, they do handball check, they do penalty check, they do offside check. Pretty much every goal, like in the NFL, when a turnover, a touchdown need to be confirmed. That's what soccer does with all goals and all that stuff. And it's becoming a little bit of an issue because of the technology they have now. The offsides rule in soccer, where the person, the offensive player cannot be behind the second to last defender, with the last, of course, usually being the goalie. It can't be behind the second to last defender when the ball is struck. There are times where goals are now being disallowed. It was specifically in the Switzerland-Germany game. Switzerland got screwed. They scored a goal, and it was called back from VAR for an offside when, the offensive player, I think his pinky toe was, or his big toe was offside, and everything else was, and like his shoulders, which are like the most important center of gravity, was onside. It was just that little part of his toe that was offside. So they called it back, which is utterly, utterly ridiculous. And, again, I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world, but it seems to me like there's not much of an advantage gained by someone's toe being behind the last defender.
Yeah.
And I still think they need to switch the rule to, like, the offensive player, like his back foot can't be in front of the defense. As long as he keeps part of his body behind, he's good. Because it's getting out of hand. And then you have some, like, we'll talk about this later in the USA game, something that looked like it might have been offsides, but the Copa had different technology than the Euros did, and they couldn't definitively see. So they awarded the goal when it probably looked offside, and it's just a little bit of a cluster. But it specifically in that Germany-Switzerland game, Sam, so they had that goal disallowed that probably should have counted. And then mere minutes later, Germany on the other side, he just played a cross in, whatever. It went to nothing. And then they went, of course, to VAR. And the defender, turns out, as he turned his body, the ball grazed his hand.
Of course.
So they called it a handball, and it was in the box. So Germany got a penalty and scored it, and they took the lead. When Switzerland thought they had a lead, they got screwed from VAR and back to back. It just, again, from a non-soccer Hardo, I guess. I don't know. From a non-soccer fan just watching the game, it makes it far less enjoyable to watch when like the minutia are being refereed like that. And maybe that's an omen of what is to come in other sports when we try all these robot refereeing.
Yeah, for sure. It seems that it's becoming a problem, especially. Hopefully, we don't see it as much in the American sports, but it's bound to happen at some point, which is going to be very interesting to see for sure.
No doubt about it. But that seems to be a perfect segue as we welcome on Joseph Weinsinger to talk about some big time soccer tournaments. So, okay, now we welcome on Joseph Weinsinger to come in and talk a little bit about what is going on the pitch. We have some pretty big soccer tournaments currently going on. Of course, the Copa America and the Euros. We will start close to home because let's just give it to you straight. The U.S. is leaving the Copa America after some brutal losses to Uruguay and it was Panama, right? And Panama. So Joseph, I mean, we just gotta. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts of the USA's performance as a whole? I know there was a lot of criticism on coaching, on some players, but I just want to get just everything you're thinking about how this Copa America went for the U.S.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me here. All in all, it's a poor performance. It's a poor showing. Another letdown. We get excited about this team. They're called the golden generation of American footballers. And, at the end of the day, they haven't really produced much as long as they've been touted, So it's disappointing for sure. Exciting team to watch. We have some great players and, the coaching is questionable. Nobody will argue that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's kind of become just kind of similar to being a Razorback fan, man. It's like you get excited for the new season, and then all of a sudden everything flops and we don't even make it out of the group stage on our home turf. We're the first host nation ever to not make it out of the group stages in the Copa America. So that's not a good accolade at all.
America.
Tell you what. So for the Copa, I mean, U.S. kind of had what seemed to be a fairly easy group that they were sitting in. We ended up beating Bolivia, pretty poor side. I mean, that was an expected win. Panama was another expected win. We were not able to close that one out at all. We lost that game. And at the end of the day, Panama and Uruguay ended up advancing out of that group. Uruguay's a tough team. Last night we played that game and it was a must win for us. A tie could have gotten us there if Bolivia and Panama ended in a draw or Bolivia won. It would have been okay if we drew, but kind of what ended up happening was some questionable refereeing, the officiating, it was some inexperienced officials. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. I mean, I've played soccer for, I guess 15 years. I played college, and some of this stuff I have never seen in my youth through college. Like, this is unique for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Twitter, Instagram, everything is erupting about this reffing performance. So I unfortunately didn't have a chance to watch the full game, but it seems you had. Was it as egregious as social media is saying?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't call it unfortunate that you missed it. I think your time was well spent. But I mean, really, the short notes of it is, we've got this game against a tenacious like Uruguay side there. If you need to fight against a team, in a tooth and nail battle, you don't want to do it against Uruguay. They're physical, they're talented. They have some superstars on the world stage, and we've got a couple of those too. But I guess we can run through kind of my shower thoughts on the officiating. I am a certified referee for what it's worth at a low level. And I've been a player forever. And like I said, so The
Gotcha. So real quick, we'll just redo that intro now. Welcome on our rules analyst.
There you go.
So
Yeah,
now we're official here.
yeah. Well, hey. So this guy Kevin Ortega is the referee. For starting off, the dude had never reffed a Copa America game. In his entire career, it was only his 6th time as the center referee. He had actually a history of doing some crap to piss some people off. So this was really no surprise when people did some digging. But I mean, start off the game, man. Just like 15 minutes into the game, we've got one of our star players, Tyler Adams. He goes in for a challenge. He's stepping through the back line, and some dude, goes cleats up on his ankle, which is typically at least a yellow card. And Tyler Adams received the yellow card.
I did see
That's
that.
one that's kind of forgivable. That's one that you cannot review a yellow card with the VAR, the virtual assistant referee. There, you can't review the yellow card. Yeah, you missed calls. It's okay. Fine. 15 minutes later, you've got, this crazy play, which you've probably seen where, I mean, my God, there's a hard challenge, an undeniable foul on the United States, and Uruguay is attacking, in their own half. And the referee blows the play dead. You've got an injured Uruguay player on the ground. The referee pulls out a yellow card, throws it in the sky, and immediately Uruguay puts the ball down and plays it past our players who are completely not expecting it, because whenever you deliver a yellow card, you have to pull out your book and write it in the book. This is the rules. You cannot let a quick play happen. You got a guy dead on the ground and you've got him holding up a yellow card. This is like 101. You cannot have a quick play off of that. And so you see the referee, you see pictures. This guy's holding a yellow card in his hand still, basically giving advantage, a quick play, and Uruguay somehow did not score a one-on-one opportunity. My God. So the first half ended like 0-0, whatever. And then I think in the first half still there was basically the opposite of that, where the United States, tried to clear it. There was a handball on a Uruguayan player, and then Pulisic has a beautiful turn, and he's like running into their half with a great chance, and the ref blows it dead. What the hell? I mean, like, that's just stuff like that is just pretty. It seems blatant. I don't know. I mean, that's just me. But and then like into the 70th minute is when Uruguay scores their goal. They beat us 1-0 at the end, but the goal,
Clearly
as I'm sure you've
Let's call it what it is. Clearly offsides.
Well, everything that I've seen surely is obvious. I mean, there's really no question about it. The things I've seen, like from other people trying to basically vouch for the referee, have said, oh, VAR is, just for blatantly offside calls or blatant fouls, blatant penalties, red cards, whatever. And this one was kind of close, so they just let it slide. I don't buy that. I don't.
They clearly haven't watched a second of the Euros then.
Right. Well, in the Euros, they totally would have been disallowed. I mean, that's the thing. There were similar ones in the Euros. And my God, they can't show the replay everywhere and then say, hey, this is going to be allowed. I mean, you can't show it to everybody and then allow it. It's insane. So there's their goal. They showed it to us for 5 minutes straight, and then they spat in our faces. I mean, essentially. But hey, something else that happened was that after the game, you had, our captain, who's supposed to be in communication with the referee, he talked some shit to the referee, deserved, maybe not, during the game. And, it looked like he went up and had a little conversation and then tried to shake his hand, and the ref had none of it. He wouldn't extend the hand to our captain. I've never seen that on any stage ever. That's pretty crazy. And just to kind of reiterate on this Kevin Ortega guy, he in 2022 there was a match between Boca Juniors and another club, and basically called a penalty in like the 96th minute. Very, very, very controversial, questionable penalty. And he gave it to the Boca side. They score, they win, they advance, and there was like an investigation into that because it was so controversial. And it turns out they had, gifted him some jerseys before the game, and
Jeez.
there was some. It's really just mind-boggling that this guy was even, cleared to ref a game at this stage, given his lack of experience. And listen, I don't want to sit here and just talk about how crap the ref was. Everybody can see for themselves. There's plenty of clips, which is just unfortunate. The United States didn't get it done. I mean, they didn't. The problem is we even if Uruguay hadn't have scored and it was 0-0, that still wouldn't have sent us through, given the other match, Bolivia and Panama's outcome. We would have had to win the game. So at the end of the day, you can say the refs crap, but we didn't do it. We had no attacking play. Blame it on the coach. A lot of people are saying, Greg Berhalter, the United States coach, needs to be shown the door. I probably agree. Just a little bit of freshness maybe before, because what this Copa is supposed to be a warm up for the 2026 World Cup on our home turf. Like, this is a chance to have some high level matches against some very good teams on our own turf, showing the fans, something to be excited about, and setting the stage for this mass. It's going to be the biggest summer for American soccer ever. No question. And we did nothing to get anybody excited. I'm afraid the coach will probably not be replaced, unfortunately, just because there's a lot into that. But that's the short piece of it, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to like I'm certainly not a soccer mind at all, but it seemed like this Copa America campaign might have died when they inexcusably lost to Panama. Is that kind of in your eyes too, where it's just like Uruguay, tough team, more talented team? You'd like to have 2 wins going into that, especially against 2 weaker sides, and the U.S. just couldn't get that done.
You said it, man. I mean, those are 2 games that were supposed to set us up with 6 points, and that would have, by losing that game to Panama, who has beaten us in the past in similar situations, that kind of put us behind the 8 ball, as they say. And it just really set up a very tough game for our side, who is a bunch of young dudes. They have a lot of promise, a lot of potential, but they've not been in a lot of situations like that against gritty sides, that are, led by the likes of Darwin Nunez, who's a top striker in the Barclays Premier League. And these guys that are world-class players, luckily we have a couple of them, but you said it, man, if you lose to a side like Panama, it certainly doesn't put you in a good spot to capitalize and make it out of the group stages. And God knows how far we could have made it. But when you have sides like Canada making out of their group with a -1 goal differential, I mean, they were -1. They scored 1 goal in 3 games and advanced. And it's stuff like that just makes you just – I mean, I'll still watch the rest of the tournament just as a fan, a neutral fan, but I mean, it's a sad one. Argentina's, still the odds favorite, at least according to Vegas last time I checked. So, we'll see what happens with them. But you like to support your own guys, but I don't know, it didn't happen for us this time,
Yeah, I mean, as a casual international soccer fan, it seemed the past couple years, all this young talent highlighted by Pulisic, it seemed this was the team to get done. So obviously that didn't happen. We greatly underperformed this tournament. Where do you go from here as the next big tournament is that World Cup, especially when it's going to be in the U.S. and North America?
Yeah. So luckily we won't have to qualify for that since we're the host nation. So we'll at least be there for a little bit. Where do we go? I mean, that's the big question, right? That's what everybody's thinking 24 hours later. What the hell's going on, and what needs to be done differently from a coaching standpoint? I mean, it's kind of agreed upon that the talent is there. I mean, the guys, we've got, like I said, Captain Christian Pulisic, who's, just had his best season of his life at AC Milan, and a real breakout season. And he had a great showing. A lot of our players played decent. There's a weird dynamic that is it kind of sits between the players and Greg Berhalter, where he's kind of like the one that they want in the role. But just, I mean, as you guys know, not very often is it actually a good idea to just let the players pick who the coach is and then say, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, you don't want a guy who's buddies with the players. You want a guy who's going to drive the players and maybe even has a little bit of, I don't know, maybe calls for some fear or like some respect or something. Not a guy who's buddy who isn't going to wring your ass if you lose the game or if you perform poorly. And you had, I mean, the goalkeeper, Matt Turner, who's a fine player. He didn't get it done very well this tournament, but after the loss, and after the elimination, you have him saying, I see no problem with the direction that our team is going and all. And that's just like, how do you not see a problem with this? This is a team that has all the resources, all the talent, all of the chances, and none of the execution. I mean, with all the resources that they have and all the talent, it comes expectation. I don't know if it's that they can't handle the expectation. I don't know if we don't have enough of a drill sergeant heading the team in Greg Berhalter. He was canned at one point and was brought back after a lot of interviewing for other coaches. He was brought back.
That always works well. Canning someone and be like, there's no one better. Come back.
Oh man! And what really is a slap in the face is the runner-up for the coaching job was ended up being the Canadian head coach who made it out of their group.
That hurts.
So shoulda, coulda, woulda.
That hurts.
Oh man,
it's piss poor. I mean, it really is. So if you ask me, I mean, I say, my God. It's a short amount of time. There's not going to be any games that are going to be at a level quite like these 3 games were before this next World Cup. It's not going to happen. There's no stage in between now and then that's going to provide any kind of test like this. So it's going to be a big question mark going into this World Cup of like, hey, is this going to be another flop? Like, there's just going to be a lot of uncertainty. On the home turf, I'm sure everyone will be stoked. We'll probably have plenty of folks, but probably less folks than we would have if we actually made it out of the group and did well and got people excited. I mean, the stadiums were looking pretty filled from my TV. So there was, more than I expected that had interest. But fellas, at the end of the day, I mean, it's really a group that we should have made it out of. We had a good draw, and it's just disappointing, So I say can the coach. I say bring in somebody new, but it's easy for me to say from my couch with a bag of chips. You know what I mean?
Of course, obviously. That's what we're meant to do with sports. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But you brought up something that I kind of wanted to talk about because we've already talked about it a little bit on the episode. I gave my thoughts on this, but we talked a little bit about VAR and the differences between how that was utilized in the Copa America versus the Euros. And specifically, I remember watching a game between it was Germany and Switzerland looked like they had drawn first blood. Looks like they had scored. Their player was offsides by, a literal ball hair. He was offsides by, got called back, and then literally a minute later, VAR had a handball on Switzerland in the box, penalty to Germany, and they scored. So within a 2-minute stretch, Switzerland had a goal taken away from, the slightest of margins, and then, of course, given up in the slightest of margins. So it seems rather inconsistent to me between the two tournaments, how it's utilized and how it's utilized between the different leagues. And overall, what are your thoughts on that and whether or not that's a net positive for the game, or whether you would kind of like to see people just kind of go with the flow and rely less on the technology?
Well, yeah, sure. The technology is creeping into soccer as well as, many other sports. There's certain sports where I think like like my opinion in baseball, I think the strike zone should be not an umpire sitting back there and fucking up every other pitch. I think, I see, there's a few umpires that are just known for just botching them. But in soccer, there is definitive lines and technology that can, and in my opinion, should be used in order to make sure that plays are legal according to the rules and that no players have advantages based on shitty refs or disadvantages. So, in my opinion, I like the current rules, that they've used with VAR. I like, so I think as it stands, the reviewable things for VAR, you got offside, you've got direct red cards, you have penalties, and you have mistaken identity, players that get cards and they should have been a different guy, whatever. At the end of the day, that the offside is the biggest thing. This is something that as somebody who's been the assistant referee running the sidelines, it's tough. I mean, these players are quick as hell. They may be like an inch offside, a foot offside, even a couple feet offside. If you're not right on that line, it's very hard to tell. And honestly, there's no room for like give me goals because a player got a ball in the offside position and the ref missed it. I don't think there's any room for that. I really don't. In the case of yesterday, in the case of the Switzerland game, it's strange because you see the replay, you see the technology being used in the way it should be. And the sigh of relief that I had when I said, oh, thank God it's offside. And then the roller coaster, the mood swing I had was just, I won't repeat what I said, but it's pretty insane to have that and to see, and to not, I haven't heard an explanation. I haven't heard a valid explanation. And you hear Greg Berhalter bitching about it after the game in the press conference. I mean, I would too. He has bigger things to worry about. But, if a goal ends the game like that 1-0, we should have done better, but I still have no idea how that was not called offside after the review. So to just sum that up, I think it probably is something that needs to stay. I think that's a good idea. At the high levels like that, stuff happens so quick. It's so hard to get those calls right. And frankly, there's no room for give me goals. So I think, now they've actually changed the offside rules. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but, instead of, I think what it used to be was if any scoring body part was offside past the defender behind the line, any body part you could score with, you are offside. But now what they've changed it to is, as long as there's, at least not yet, but to be implemented in the next season, at least of major leagues around Europe, they will be allowing the play to continue if there is any overlap between the attacker and defender at all.
It's funny. I was talking about that before. I said that if I was in charge of soccer, I don't know what governing body that would be, but if I was in charge, I was the head of FIFA, I would say like almost like a back line, that at the attacker's like back foot is even with the defender, that would be onside.
Yeah, totally agree.
Let's go, dude.
I like that too. And there's not a whole lot of people complaining because that is it's easy. It's pretty easy to enforce, and also probably more goals. I mean, there was enough 0-0 games and 1-1 games in this Copa, not to mention the Euro, that who doesn't want to see more goals?
Right.
Nobody wants to sit there and see 0-0 after 90 minutes, or like Portugal, 0-0 through 120 minutes. Nobody cares about I mean, I guess it's still fun to watch for some folks. I didn't mind it, but at the end of the day, I mean, goals are goals, and goals are fun to watch. It's more exciting that way. So I like your thoughts on that, Tanner. I think that's that's the right way to do it. I really do. So agreed.
Let's go. Yeah, and to that point, I vividly remember it was a World Cup final. It was like incredibly anticipated. It was Messi's first one, and I think they were facing Germany, and it was like the big matchup. And I think Germany ended up on they won on a goal in like the 121st minute or some bullshit like that. But with the entire game, there was just nothing going on whatsoever. So more goals is nice for sure, no doubt about that.
No, I mean it's like I said, a lot of 0-0 score lines, 1-1 score lines, 1-0. It's kind of been a little bit of a quiet tournament in that regard. Kind of one that you can kind of look away from and not worry about missing anything. On the flip side, I mean, there was a game just this evening that was Turkey and Austria. That was like earlier today, and that was the best game I've seen in Euro or Copa. Obviously, that was a Euro, but that game, that's how soccer should be played. It's fun to watch. There was constant attacking. The players were like pulling their hamstrings right and left, like rain pouring down, making it sloppy. Crazy opportunities, all out attacking, crazy keeper saves. I mean, this was something worth watching, and it was two teams that aren't. Austria actually may be a top team, but that's more like it in my opinion.
Yeah, the Euros definitely seem to be the better tournament. Going back to the Copa America, you kind of said Argentina is the Vegas favorite. Do you agree with that? And do you think they're going to kind of take business as we enter the knockout stage? You think Argentina? I know Venezuela is kind of the next team up, but your thoughts are Argentina is going to kind of walk away with this thing?
It's hard to say from here. Argentina is strong, man. Argentina is strong. Venezuela, I don't know how they made it out of their group, but at the end of the day, like I think Argentina is obviously a top team. The two right behind that is like Brazil and Uruguay. I mean, two sides that a lot of people may not think Uruguay is a beast of a team, but they are. I mean, they have some world class players. Obviously, Brazil as well. Brazil. This is their poorest team in a while. I don't think they're going to go as far as, the final. I don't, but I could be wrong. I mean, they're captained by Danilo right now, he used to be kind of a somebody, and I guess he's still okay, but he's not Thiago Silva, he's not David Luiz, he's not Dante. Like this is to me, seems like a guy they looked around the room and said, well, shit, I guess you're the center back. But no, I think if I had to play some money, I think Argentina's right at like plus 110 or something like that on the line. So I would totally take that bet right now. I like the World Cup defenders. I think they're running hot. And, I mean, Di Maria's playing well. He's an old head. Obviously, Messi's in there. Like, there is some serious promise. Old guys, young guys mixed together playing well. I like Argentina. Yeah. How about y'all?
I mean, why go against a GOAT?
That's what I was going to say. At this point, it feels like Argentina's to lose, and it certainly looked that way thus far. And now I kind of want to just pose the same question with the Euros, just because, I mean, obviously you don't have a team to break down on the European side of things like we would the US, but I mean, who's gonna win the Euros? And then give me who you think are gonna win, and then give me a sleeper. Who do you think could a team not many people are talking about that could possibly make a run in these? I mean, I guess we're already into the knockout stages, but.
Yeah, so the Euro is pretty competitive, all across the board. Just to touch on the Copa thing real fast, though, the Brazil and Colombia are currently tied to see who's going to win their group and have the easier, game in the round of 16. So they'll both advance, but whoever wins this game will be the top team. But as far as the Euro goes, I think last time I looked, England was the favorite. It's kind of weird. Frankly, I think they were like plus 350, which is insane. they've got Garrett Southgate as their head coach. I mean, he's an absolute genius at finding the correct side of the bracket to be on, which of course he has no control over. So he's ended up, in a good spot for the nation, but just because they've had a pretty good draw, and that goes into the odds, obviously. I mean, so I wouldn't take England as my winner. I would. I think behind them is Spain is obviously phenomenal. I mean, they've just been incredible the past 3 games that they've played in this tournament. Followed closely by Germany. I think their odds are damn near the same. You know me, I'm a German. I love watching that team play. They have a lot of veterans on that team. Tony Kroos is probably playing his last. He may play in the next World Cup, kind of same as Messi. Like he might not. Kai Havertz is a young star for Germany. I mean, I really like what they're doing. I'd probably put it between Spain and Germany, and I think I would inch towards Germany just on a personal preference kind of thing. They're very different teams. I mean, I think the most likely. So I think France and Germany play in the semifinals if they both make it. That will be the game to watch. That'll be an incredible game. I mean, this Friday, Spain and Germany play, and then Portugal and France play. Those are going to be badass games to watch. And then Saturday's like England, Switzerland, Netherlands, Turkey won, so Netherlands, Turkey. So if I had to pick a winner, it'd be Germany. If I'm picking a more or less of a dark horse, I don't think people are talking enough about Austria. Frankly, Austria, they had a bit of a tough game this afternoon against Turkey, who was just playing all-out defense compared to Austria's all-out offense. The keepers were making stupid saves. I mean, Austria really did a great job to advance out of their group and first, topping France. I mean, they advanced first place over France in their group, which is something. Obviously France had their draw, or 2 draws, tough shit. But I'd say Austria's totally got a chance to make it to the finals, given what side of the bracket they're on and the kind of shit that they're showing right now. That's my favorites.
Oh, yeah, I like that. I would like to correct something I said before the game. I mentioned the Germany-Switzerland game with the offsides. It was actually Germany-Denmark. So that was the game I was watching. Those red and white flags definitely do confuse me a little bit. But I like those picks, man. Also, a German myself. A name you didn't mention. I love watching Jamal Musiala play soccer. He is so very good at the sport. Real impressive stuff. But I like those picks for sure.
Yeah. It seems that the guy, kind of the greatest players of our generation, Ronaldo and Messi, obviously being the top 2, their time on the international play is coming to end. I know Ronaldo announced this is his last Euros, so we'll see if he plays in the World Cup. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't ask on our first soccer guest ever, who do you like more? Who do you think is better, Messi or Ronaldo?
I don't think I've ever said anything out loud about this.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
They're different players.
This is a lifetime contract, by the way. Whatever name you say, you have to defend to the death for the rest of your life as the GOAT. So
yeah. I look at it in a couple of ways. Cristiano Ronaldo he has such a toolkit of skills and attributes that have made him who he is. He's not only skillful, but he's incredibly strong. I mean, that dude, Obviously he's jacked, but his strength outmatches his body even. Obviously he's older now. He's 30 something at this point, and Messi are getting old. They're slowing down. You can see it in the games. God help him. He's crying after a missed penalty. He's not what he used to be. I thought that was crazy, but he just loves the game so much, or he was embarrassed. Who knows? Luckily, he sank the one in the shootout. But man, Messi, so Ronaldo has all this in his tool belt. He can play, up top or on the wing. He's played in the left mid position before. The dude has had such a career. He is so unique. We've never seen somebody like him. We've never seen somebody that plays like him, has this aura, that's kind of, that he carries around with him. And Messi's just autistic. No, he's not. But no. Messi is truly, I think, the greatest center forward to ever play. You cannot say that we've not seen somebody like him, because if you go watch his own hometown, Diego Maradona, it almost looks like the same dude in different hair, running and up and down the field, same height, same moves, running around, incredible balance and agility, indestructible, cocaine or not, indestructible. And that dude has done shit that we'll never probably see again. I mean, now we've got Mbappe coming up, who's obviously a superstar. Everyone wants to say he's the best in the world. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think he is a beast. I'm trying to dodge the question, but at the end of the day, if I have to say one or the other, who is my favorite or who is the best, I would say that Cristiano Ronaldo is the best player of all time.
An upset live. That is, I did not expect that.
I was not expecting that.
Wow.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
I know.
There we go. Ronaldo.
And the reason I say that is Lionel Messi's an incredible scorer. The dude is a finisher unlike anybody else that we've ever seen. The way that he moves past defenders, I mean, that's something Ronaldo can't do in the same way. He does it in different ways. And if you go back a decade, you see both of them at the top of their game. That's kind of where my mind is right now, less than today. Neither of them, I don't think, are the best player today, unfortunately. I mean, they're kind of past their prime. Still incredible, but I just can't. You can't. There's the thing. It's like Ronaldo hasn't won a World Cup, so you could sit there. There's that. You know what I mean? So, but it's like if you have one guy that you could choose on your team, that's who I'm choosing. He's the goal scorer. He's the beast. He's strong. Nobody's pushing him off the ball. He's scoring free kicks. He's scoring bangers from 40 yards. Messi doesn't do that. I mean, Messi's amazing. He scores everything inside 18 yards. He's insane. But I just look at the array of shit that Ronaldo has done. I mean, and there's a chance that I change my mind on this. That's the thing. It's so hard.
You're locked in. You're locked in.
I'm creating a back door.
Said the guy who plays for the Saudis. Are you a live golf guy too?
Yeah. No, I know, man.
For Brooks Koepka, followed by Bryson DeChambeau.
Right. No, but what's crazy is I don't know if y'all have heard about the talks of Ronaldo being acquired to Inter Miami in the past week.
He's totally cooked. He's going to the MLS.
I know. Dude,
that's funny.
That would be truly insane, and I think that's something that the people deserve to see.
I agree with that.
I think that would be insane.
Dude, some poor soul played soccer Denver University has to go against Ronaldo and Messi on the God.
Their corpse and still get cooked.
Yeah, dude, oh God.
I know.
That's brutal for that guy.
That would be amazing to see. I mean, God help anybody who they come up against with the current squad plus Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, to me, that's what it comes down to, fellas, is as a player, who do I want on my team? both of them. But if I want somebody who's going to do it all by himself, I would also choose both of them for that. But I go back to like the long shots plus the finishing in the box and the strength and the skill moves, and like they almost have the same bag in different ways. And it's, of course, Messi doesn't have the strength. He has the agility more so than Ronaldo, and the balance. And Ronaldo's the acrobat. You don't see Messi scoring bicycle kicks. It's such a different couple of dudes. And my God, man, I'll have to get back on here at some point in the future and see
an update.
but actually,
they both kick ball good.
They both.
Exactly. But I mean, you go to the stats, and Messi has all the Ballon d'Ors. He has the World Cup. He has all the trophies. So like, he's more decorated. He's better in that regard. But if I want a guy on my team, it's Ronaldo.
Interesting. Can't say I expected that. I definitely expected Messi. So
the way he was talking about Ronaldo and all this and that, but you have Lionel. I'm shocked.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know.
I got one last question before we let you go. You mentioned you don't think either of them are the best player in the world right now. Who is right now? Is it Mbappe?
Yeah.
You mentioned him, or is it
Yeah. I mean, right now, what sucks is that like both of my answers are now on Real Madrid together. God help the BBVA league. I mean, in my opinion,
always Real Madrid.
The Warriors of soccer, I swear.
It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd that they win the Champions League and then acquire Mbappe, who, to me, I think Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham, who was the center midfielder, attacking side for Real Madrid, are the two best in the world right now. I think there's very close seconds, people coming up that are going to be close. I mean, Cole Palmer is a new name he's scored. My God, the dude scores 2 goals a game, damn near. And then you have players like Erling Haaland, who's on massacring people in the Premier League, but I don't think he's technical. He's not. The dude's a giraffe running down the field, and good luck stopping him. But technical, like if we're talking about skillful players, Bellingham, who's kind of the guy who Toni Kroos is passing the torch to. He's the most technical midfielder in the world. I think Musiala's up there too. If we're talking about technical skill, if I look around and this generation of soccer, they're not, and don't take this, you take this with a grain of salt. They're not playing as well as they can. You watch games and you see potential and you see like crazy shit, but I think it can be better. Mbappe, I'm very curious to see what he does at Real Madrid. They're going to stop everybody, but I'm so curious with that squad. Vinicius Jr., I don't think Vinicius Jr. is definitely up there for the Ballon d'Or this year. He is one of the most skillful players. He's like the new Neymar. I put him up there, man. But if I'm naming two, it's Mbappe and Jude Bellingham. And I'm curious to see who else is going to step up, man. We've got a lot of good players coming up. Like I said, Cole Palmer in the Premier League. Kevin De Bruyne is an incredibly skillful center midfielder. I mean, Manchester City's won 4 Premier Leagues back to back. That's retarded. And then, I could name others, but I'm not going to keep going on because I think those are probably the cream of the crop as it stands. That's what I have to say about it, fellas.
No doubt.
Dude,
you got any other questions?
Definitely not for you guys because I have never heard of this Jude Bellingham, but I got to tune in now, I guess.
Yeah, I know. He scored a big goal for England, right? It tied. Yeah. England was down like the 95th minute or something and tied it for him in the knockout stages.
Well, he's a rock you can build your team on. I mean, the game starts from the midfield. You need good midfield, and man, I mean, we've seen incredible midfielders come and go, and unfortunately, it's kind of like the changing of the guard type of shit. And man, he has really stepped up. And I kind of was like the same thing a couple years ago. Who the hell is this guy? But he and Musiala play, in my opinion, pretty similarly. And I think that is going to be something to watch. I really do. Real Madrid. So, I mean, what do y'all think? Who would y'all put up there? You know, obviously Mbappe's the big name right now.
Yeah.
It pretty much shows our depth of knowledge on the. It's got to be Mbappe for me.
Yeah,
he's just everywhere. You know, he's the flashy star. He's won a World Cup. He's almost won 2.
Yeah,
you know, he won a World Cup like 18 years old or some shit. So
totally.
He kicked ball good.
He kicked ball good, and he run really, really, really fast.
Indeed, and he's masked up.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But you got any other questions, man?
No, I think this definitely helped our listeners out. We appreciate you coming on.
Shit, I learned so much.
I learned a lot.
No doubt about it. But yeah, man, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. You know, I watch you guys, follow you on Instagram and shit. So it's cool to be up here. I saw Alonso on here. I'm like, when's my turn? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had to get you on, bro.
Yeah, Alonso would have had a lot to say about this too. I mean, the dude knows ball. So
yeah,
I appreciate y'all. You know, it's been a pleasure. It's been a good time. Look forward to seeing both of you guys soon. You know what I mean? We'll have a hell of a time together soon.
Yeah,
no doubt about it,
absolutely.
Man.
Thanks
so
again.
Much. All right. Huge thank you to Joseph Weinsinger for joining us on the episode, talking a little bit of footy. Sam, but the big thing going on in the sports world right now has to be NBA free agency, which never, ever disappoints, it feels like. So we got some big deals to talk about. Before we get into the free agents, we'll start with trades because both of our teams made some big ones. Let's go in chronological order. So the first one to happen, your Thunder, Sam, they trade for Alex Caruso and give up Josh Giddey.
Yeah. You know, I was a fan of Josh Giddey coming into this season, but turns out he kind of needs the ball in his hand to be effective. And with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it just didn't make sense. Especially in the playoffs, I think Giddey's weaknesses in his game got really exposed. Not a great defender.
Slow.
Again, needs the ball in his hand to be effective. I think that's kind of the storyline of this trade. And we replaced it with one of the best on-ball defenders in the league in Alex Caruso. I mean, Sam Presti is killing this offseason. It's just impressive what he's doing. Love the acquisition of Alex Caruso. I think it is a step up. Have him, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams all on the court at once. That's going to be a impressive defensive lineup. It's going to be very fun to see how Alex Caruso fits in this lineup. I think he will be a starter, not coming off the bench, and he's going to add a aspect of defense. I think the lineup was lacking with Giddey on the floor. So super excited. Love the trade. And giving up Josh Giddey, not a huge loss.
Exactly. Now, permission to give myself a little pat on the back, Sam, because if you remember in the trade deadline show, I said something about the Thunder trading for Alex Caruso because the fit is absolutely perfect. And Sam Presti, I'm available if you need some part-time work. We'll get on the horn. But in all seriousness, though, is a great move. I mean, everything you hit everything. So I firmly believe you got the best player in the deal on your team. The fit is perfect. He fits well within your system. He fits well within your goals for next year. And the value-wise was perfect too. I think you gave up less and got more for a player that fits so perfectly.
And the fact we didn't give up a single draft
pick.
Not a
single draft pick. And for a quick minute to the Bulls, I mean, obviously, you could see the vision on Giddey. He's so young and he's shown stuff in the league. But it's a really impressive work to trade a player at his all-time high value for a player at his all-time low value. Real impressive stuff from the Bulls there. But I agree with you. I think it's a great trade. Great trade for the Thunder, and it checks every box. Checks every box for sure. But the Thunder didn't stop there. Before we get to the next trade, Sam, while we're talking about the Thunder, we can hit on a few other things they did, because as you said, they seem to get a lot better defensively. Adding Caruso and adding a rim protector with Isaiah Hartenstein going from New York to Oklahoma City on a it was a 3-year.
It was
I lost
3-year, 87.
3-year 87. I lost it. Yeah.
And people will look at that and say it's an overpaid, which I think he was, from what I've heard, preset on returning to New York. So you got to pay him to come to the smaller market, going from New York to Oklahoma City. That's definitely a change of scenery. But I love this. Now, where he fits in this lineup, will he be the 5 coming off the bench? Because I think that'll be interesting if that's what happened. Personally, I think you go Shea and then either Caruso or Dort, and then J-Dub, Shet, and Hartenstein. I like that lineup, but you can also have Hartenstein. There's so many opportunities with this guy. I've said it on the pod. Steven Adams is one of my favorite Thunder players of all time, and I think Hartenstein can fill that role amazing, especially with that pick and roll with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And he's a better playmaker than Steven Adams was. Excuse me. But yeah, that was kind of the first domino got our big men that we need. It seemed when Chet wasn't on the floor last year, production seemed to go down. And then we added 2 youngsters, extended them. Isaiah Joe being one of our best shooters, and then Aaron Wiggins, another young guy, just adding to depth of the Thunder. And it's going to be a fun season coming up for the Thunder. Really love what Sam Presti has done this offseason, and I honestly don't think he's done. I think he's going to make a final move. I heard Lauri Markkanen might be in the talks. I don't really love that, but we'll see. But I really love this Hartenstein pickup. I think again, talk about a perfect fit. He definitely fits here.
Yeah, this one was definitely sad. I'm with the Knicks trade that we'll talk about later, and the Knicks also re-signing OG. It seemed very not likely that Isaiah Hartenstein would end up being a Knick next year, and then there was no news, and it seemed like, okay, maybe. I know you said he loved New York, so maybe he would take a pay cut. So it started to believe again, and then of course he announces that deal. I'm so happy for him, though. I mean, he was everything the Knicks ever wanted on their team and more. He was so good for them, and I'm very happy he got a payday. He deserves every penny of it. He just played winning basketball. You mentioned the Steven Adams role. He does everything. I don't think that's a bad comp in terms of production, but he does it in such a different way. Like, he's not big, he's not strong, he's not brooding, but he's quick for a big man. He's great defensively. He's great on the boards, in the pick and roll game. He moves quick. All of that is, a little different from Steven Adams. So, but he's a great player. He's an absolutely great player. Sad to see him go for sure. But you know who the Knicks did not see go, Sam? Because the Knicks made some moves themselves. They didn't have to say goodbye to Bojan Bogdanovic, which is a big loss. But they made the move that everyone was looking at. They went out and traded for Mikal Bridges, and hard to not love it, right? I get the trade package was a lot. I question people's knowledge of basketball when with the things they say. I mean, Mikal Bridges is a fantastic basketball player. He plays winning basketball. I think I said this if you saw the press conference. I love people who play winning basketball. And it doesn't matter how much they cost to get on your team. It's no coincidence that the minute the Suns traded away Mikal Bridges, they never went back to the Western Conference Finals. There's a reason why when he went to Brooklyn, he was able to score, have multiple 30, 40-point games because he is as versatile as it gets. Great wing defender. He loves playing basketball, obviously crucial on a Tibbs coach team. Plays the entire game. He's played he's never missed a game just like for shits and gigs.
Yeah.
Like, he's just everything Tibbs would want in a player. And the Nova Knicks, obviously, that whole thing, they love to play together. I think there's going to be a certain energy in there, and he's just a fantastic basketball player. So I'm super excited with him now on the wing, both offensively and defensively. And then you bring back OG Anunoby, who was the key to the team last year. Again, talk about winning basketball. It's no coincidence that when they brought him in, the Knicks went on that run to lock up the 2 seed. They went like 13-2 in his first 15 games. Then what happened? They were up 2-0 against Indiana. What changed? Why'd they lose that series? OG got hurt. And then he was playing basically with a stiff leg in game 7, could barely move. Like, this guy, this guy's a gamer, a baller, and he plays winning basketball, great defensively. Even that one game against Philly when we needed the dunk against Philly, and then I think it was the series against Indiana where he had like 28 points in like 24 minutes or something when he needed to step up offensively. Talk about defensive team, Sam. Thunder might be a better all-around defensive team because of that new rim protection you got with Shet and now Isaiah.
Yeah. But
it's going to be hard to find a team with better perimeter defense with OG Anunoby and with Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the people saying you overpay or you gave away a lot, the Knicks are not in rebuild right now. They're in win now mode. And I think an addition of Bridges is that guy. I really like the pickup. Did they give away a lot? Yeah, maybe. It depends on who you ask, but I really don't think it's that bad of a trade. Like I said, they're in win now mode, and that's all that matters.
I don't think picks mean much to the Knicks.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Right now.
Do you think y'all overpaid for OG? Because looking at this contract, 5-year, $212. Now, obviously, I don't know where Julius Randle's contract sits, where Brunson contract sits. I know he just signed in 22, I want to say. So, okay, I have it pulled up right here. So, OG is there till 27 for sure. Julius is 26, 27. Brunson's 26. Okay. So it's not really an overpay. If you look at, Bridges till 26, 27, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart. So you kind of have all these dudes under contract till 26, 27. Now, when that comes 26, 27, Randall, Brunson, Bridges, and Mitchell Robinson all become unrestricted. So that is going to be interesting, but having those guys for a couple of years is definitely a great solution for the Knicks, and I think the team did get better. And then OG and McCall Bridges, that's a nice little duo that you got there.
No doubt. It's so hard with this overpay, especially in the NBA where money is just out of control now. It's a lot, no doubt about that. Again, OG Anunoby, he was the key to this team last year. And especially after the Mikal move, you couldn't let him go. Like after you trade all that for Mikal, there's no way you can just be like, all right, OG, like we're good. Like you needed to make that move. I understand it's a lot, and obviously, with the cap the way it is, it might, preclude them from getting a star. I don't know. All that cap crap is foreign to me at this point. What they can do to bring that down, but yeah, just in general, I know, especially coming off the Mikal news, knowing that we get OG back regardless of price was big news for sure. For fans.
And I wonder what I know. The Hartenstein contract was about what the Thunder paid for him. So, I mean, you get rid of that contract, you can throw more money at OG. And I think that's kind of what happened here. But I love what our teams are doing this offseason, Tanner.
Same.
They were at the top of their conferences this past year. I think they're going to stay there. There has been some movement in the Eastern Conference and the Western. Two of the biggest free agency signings have been kind of one in each. But yeah, I think both of our teams definitely got better this offseason for sure. And we still got a lot more of free agency. So seeing where all this pans out, I'm sure both of our teams are not done yet.
No doubt about it. And a star will inevitably win out at some point within, maybe even within the next, right before we record our next episode.
Yeah.
Some other star will win out. But you mentioned some of the other big moves. Let's just start talking about some of the big ones. And I think the bombshell, we should start with that, is Paul George, right? Paul George leaving the Clippers and going to the 76ers.
Yeah.
That is 4 years, 212 million, which Anunoby was 5 years, 212 million.
Yeah. And not known for having injuries throughout his career. This one was interesting, Tanner. I think this solidifies that the Thunder absolutely fleeced the Clippers and that Paul George.
It's a shame. It's a shame because it's really hard. I don't fault Clippers front office. You make that trade 10 times out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
You're going for it. You know, it's not a bad trade by any means. It just didn't work out, and that's hilarious. So we can laugh at him because it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I don't blame him for making it at all.
And the Thunder salute you for it. Yeah. I mean, this tenure of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard might go is right up there with the Nets. With KD and James Harden. They just never played together. And I do like Paul George on the 76ers. That team is going to be very front loaded. I think there's going to be zero depth. And guess what other team has been loaded with their front lineup and didn't do shit? The Phoenix Suns. I think that we're going to have a Suns in the East this year. And guess what? Paul George, injury prone. Guess who else is injury prone? Joel Embiid. Now, I can be eating my words this time next year if they win the championship. I don't see that happening. But I mean, I've always been a fan of Paul George. I was kind of hoping he might return to OKC, but Sam Presti knows some I don't. So I'm gonna let the GOAT keep doing what he's doing. But I mean, I guess I like the fit with him in Philly, but I just don't see it working out too well.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, I love the fit. I mean, this team should absolutely be a top 2 seed in the East. The only thing to talk about right here is health. As you said, it is if you're a 76ers fan, you should through the moon. You should be super excited. You finally have a key wing scorer. You tried it with Jimmy Butler, who you let walk for some reason. Then of course you tried it with Tobias Harris, who you just chose over. Like obviously we all know how that went. But now you have a true wing scorer, someone who can play both sides of the basketball. Like it's a great fit. It's just and the roster on paper is good. Those three should be up there with the best trios in anywhere across the league. But it is totally fair to question whether or not Paul George and Joel Embiid will be healthy or 100% during a playoff run. Because year after year after year, what happens to the Clippers? One of them, either him or Kawhi, gets hurt. What happens to the 76ers? Oh, Embiid's playing hurt. Oh, Embiid's day-to-day. Oh, Embiid's out. Happens every damn year. So, I mean, that's it. It's will they stay healthy? Because that team should be damn good. You mentioned the depth issues, definitely of concern. They got Eric Gordon, who his run in Phoenix wasn't that great, but he had some good. It was recently. Where was he? Was it
He's good on the Rockets.
Oh
He-
yeah, well
few-
yeah, he's good on the
a
Rockets.
while back.
Thought there was
Was
he
he-
was a depth piece somewhere where he was putting up good. Was it the Clippers?
Yeah,
Yes,
he
it
was
was
on the Clippers.
Yep, he was. Yeah, he was a good bench scorer,
Mhm.
shooter for the Clippers in somewhat recent years. He had a rough go of it last year with Phoenix, but I think everything was rough in Phoenix last year. But so they did add a little depth. But yeah, no, I agree. Depth may be an issue in health. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
not great things.
not yeah, not great things. I mean, sticking on the same wavelength here with the Clippers losing Paul George, but they did keep James Harden, signed him to as a 2-year, $70
We
million
love that.
contract.
As a Thunder fan, we love it.
Stay, go do your own thing out on the West Coast.
Get 40-point nightly and lose. I am a-okay with that because that means we're just going to keep raking in those lottery picks.
No doubt. The other surprise, Klay Thompson, of course, a longtime Warrior, Splash Brother, is leaving his Splash brethren to go to Dallas.
Yeah, this one was a little surprising, Tara. I know it was kind of a guy, at least what I read, it seemed he was going to be a Laker.
Yeah. Well,
shocking no one.
yeah.
High free agent going to LA. But I like the fit. I mean, obviously Klay Thompson isn't what he was during the prime Splash Bros years, but my boy can still shoot. I mean, it's going to be a lot like playing. He's going to be a spot up shooter with Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah.
Will he? It's just going to be interesting to see how he fits. I don't think he's going to be the guy that scores 20 a night, but a solid 10, 15 a night. And can he return to himself? Did he just need a change of scenery? That's to be seen. But I mean, I know we've probably said on the pod, Klay Thompson's one of the best shooters in the league, and has been since he walked in. So gaining another shooter on that squad's unbelievable. But we will just have to see how he fits, and if he's going to be happy.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we all know he did not have a great season last year. And I think, with this new team, we kind of have tempered expectations. So what is a successful year for Klay Thompson has been redefined going into this season, and that reflects in his contract. I mean, he's 3 years, $50 million. If he can be a depth piece, come off the bench, knock down shots, that's the going rate for one of those at this point. 3 years, $50 million. So, I mean, I think that's all he needs. So I think that is definitely a thing to keep in mind, that the pay and the expectations reflect his current age and, the amount of wear and tear on those legs with all the injuries that he's had. So a successful season has definitely changed.
So we all say he did not have a great year last year, and I think that's fair. So what do you think his points, rebounds, and assist numbers are for his career?
For his career, I'd probably say 19 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists.
So 19 points, nailed that. 3 rebounds, 2 assists.
Oh, okay. Let's wait.
Last year, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists.
Okay.
So his shooting percentages have gone down. But if you look, obviously, you can look at this on paper, and it says he didn't have that bad of a year in the grand scheme of things. But obviously, if you watch the tape, it just wasn't his year. So will we see a revival of Klay Thompson? It's definitely possible in Dallas.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We had Chris Paul. This was a kind of a surprising one. A 1-year, $11 million deal to the Spurs. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, Tanner. I completely forgot he was on the Warriors.
Me too.
Now the Spurs, I mean, it's gonna be one of those plays for a year, retires.
Tony Parker on the Hornets.
I know. I saw a tweet earlier this week. It was like, oh, they gave Wimby a true playmaker. They showed stats of Chris Paul on the New Orleans Hornets.
Bro.
I'm like, this is like 2000 and
George Bush was president.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Unbelievable. But with that being said, it will be very interesting to see what Chris Paul can do with Victor Wembanyama. I would say any other name if I knew anybody else on that team. Jeremy Sokan, there you go, and Keldon Johnson.
There you go.
That's about it. Devin Vassell.
Devin Vassell, yep, yeah. All right, look at us,
Yeah.
ball knowers. They have a one great. There's two of them. He went to Duke. They both went to Duke. Jones, Tyus Jones, or what's the other one? He has a brother.
I don't know, man.
I think they have a Jones. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a surprising one, but like also at the same time, it makes sense that not many.
Trey Jones.
Trey Jones is yeah, and he's on
the Spurs.
See, look at that.
Tyus is on the Grizzlies.
But it makes sense that not too many like contenders were bidding for Chris Paul's services at this point. So, play with Wemby, get your assists because that guy's obviously a freak show.
Devontae Graham's on the Spurs. There you go.
Remember when Devontae Graham was good? We mentioned the Clippers a little bit, or not the Clippers. Excuse me, not the Clippers. We mentioned the 76ers a little bit. And Tobias Harris, they shed that contract. He lands with the Pistons for 2 years, $52 million. I think that's why I went Clippers, because Pistons, Clippers, 76ers. But yeah, he ends up in Detroit again for 2 years, $52 million.
Sure.
Yep. Yep.
Veteran presence, I guess.
Yep. Definitely makes sense to us.
Sure. Yeah.
Then a bunch of extensions that we should talk about, some big paydays, a lot of people staying with their current team. I mean, we had Donovan Mitchell signed a big extension to stay with Cleveland, 3-year, $150 million. We had Jason Tatum, of course, with the biggest deal in NBA history, signing that new 5-year, $314 Supermax, $314 million Supermax. We had Derek White. I don't think technically with an extension, but he's going back to
4
Boston.
125.
I mean, I never just what a great season for him. What a great postseason for him.
Yeah.
Really turned himself into a really nice basketball player. Didn't really expect that out of him.
Yeah.
So definitely shout out to Derek White.
For sure.
He deserves that. Tyrese Maxey. Philly was busy. Tyrese Maxey signed a 5-year, $204 million contract. So he'll be staying in Philly. And then is that it? I think that might be it.
Jonathan Isaac re-signed today.
Shout
out.
Isaac or the Orlando Magic. Oh, Orlando Magic. They're making moves.
Yeah.
KCP too. We didn't even talk about that. How about them Magic?
Yeah, man. These extension NBA money is stupid.
It is stupid. It is stupid.
Personally, I know why you pay him that much, but in my eyes, Tatum does not deserve that contract. I mean, he wasn't even the best player on his team that won the ship. Jaylen Brown was. In my opinion, obviously, Tatum was hooping, but you see these guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic. They just take over games. Just like, oh, you need me to get a bucket? Give me the ball. I'm going to get you a bucket. And Tatum doesn't have that mentality, in my opinion. You can tell me I'm completely wrong, and I'll probably believe you. But to me, watching his games this season, I personally think that's a little bit of overpaid. Obviously, you have to do it in this NBA world, but it was kind of crazy seeing how he kind of played this past offseason.
Yeah. No doubt about it. I think I saw, I'm trying to find the actual tweet here. We're talking about NBA money. OG Anunoby, obviously, good player. We talked about it. May have,
Yeah.
The contract obviously is a little high. Aaron Judge is the best player in the league. Like he has had an historic, he signed a huge contract. I think OG Anunoby is making I think it's right at about Aaron Judge. It might even be more than Aaron Judge. And that's just the difference between the sports right now. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about Hartenstein. He averaged 18 minutes, 6 points, 5 boards a game for his career, 6th team in 7 years. He's set to make $4 million more per season than one of the best defensive ends, Myles Garrett.
That's strong. Yeah, strong. I mean, it's crazy. And NFL money is shockingly low, I think, obviously compared to NBA. But for non-quarterbacks is nowhere near what you'd think it would be, seeing some of these NBA and even sometimes the MLB contracts that are going on nowadays. NFL is really, we mentioned the Christian McCaffrey contract.
Yeah.
It's huh? This dude's the best at his position.
Mm-hmm.
How does this happen? But those were kind of the big free agency and trade names, Sam.
Yeah.
You got anybody else you want to talk about? Any names still out there?
Lord Markkanen supposedly on the move somewhere. DeMar DeRozan is another name.
He's a free agent, or is he going to get?
I think he wants out.
Yeah,
I think the Caruso trade.
If they go
it's
DeRozan,
it's gonna be
Levine too.
It's gonna be interesting to see what happens in Chicago. Mo Bamba signed.
Oh yeah,
by the Clippers.
Yeah,
shout out Mo Bamba.
Huge.
But yeah, I think we kind of nailed all the big ones. Yeah, so nothing really more.
Yeah, it was a busy past few days when it's kind of started off maybe a little bit slower, picked up real fast. So that was pretty awesome to see. Woj bombs galore.
Shout out Woj.
Shout out
Screw Shams.
You said it,
dude. I'll say it. His deal with FanDuel is unbelievably, unbelievably crazy. He said before the Paul George deal that it was not gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's gonna be a lawsuit in the future.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sham seems to be a puppet for FanDuel.
Woj would never.
Woj would never.
I got post notes on for both though.
I gotta say, I've only kept Woj. I do not have Shams on noties. I've always been Team Woj. So that's our thoughts on Woj versus Shams.
Yeah, so, go what? We're Team Woj over here.
We're Team Woj over here for sure. But should we get into the new, I guess, the combined segment?
Yeah, let's get it.
For those of you who listened last summer, we did our Mount Rushmore, which is pretty much it was borrowed from
director rip-off. Let's not sugarcoat this.
It was borrowed from Part of My Take, of course, a very popular sports podcast. Definitely give them a listen. They do it much better than we'd ever did. Let's call it what it is. But so yeah, we used to do a Gimme Five, which we just list off our top 5 of whatever category we were talking about. So we decided to combine the two. So now we're doing a Gimme 5 draft, and today's prompt is things that you don't care about. So I'm pretty excited about this one because there are a lot of different ways that it can be taken. So do you go first? Because I'm the host. Do I go first? How do we do this?
Do we flip a coin? I don't know.
Maybe we flip a coin.
Flip a coin. All right.
What do you got? Heads or tails?
Tails.
Sam's got tails. Hey Siri, flip a coin. It's tails. It is tails. I thought he'd say it. He thought he'd say it, but he didn't. So it is tails. Do you want to go first, or do you want the back-to-back?
I'll go first.
All right.
With my 1-1, I think this deserves a 1-1 spot, and I'm going to go politics. Politics is definitely a thing I do not care about. I do enjoy the memes that come out, political things. I think the presidential debate was filled with those. But as politics as a whole might be one, if not the worst thing. The fact people just like center their life around politics is insane to me. So yeah,
It
1-1
runs
politics.
their relationships. It's all they talk about. I definitely agree. It was on my list for sure. Great pick on the 1-1. So for my first pick, I'm gonna go with astrology and zodiac signs.
That's good. That's good.
Like all that zodiac stuff where you act like a Capricorn or whatever.
You're such an Aquarius.
Yeah, like I'm not an aquarium. Wrong. To this day, I mean, I guess I think I'm a Virgo, but I guess maybe I do know. But like for the longest time, I just didn't know what it was. I didn't care. It's the most ridiculous thing.
It's wild. I'm a Sag, but I'm like in the weird gap where my birthday is like in between like two. So, but I think I am a Sagittarius. Such a Sag thing to say, but no, it 100%. That's a great pick. Crazy.
Yeah. So my next one, I think this one came to mind when I was thinking about this earlier. I mean, people seem to care about this for some reason, and I cannot wrap my head around why on earth people care about it. This is the royal family.
Yes.
Another great one. Cares
Another great one.
The damn royal family. I don't care. There's a Prince William, a Prince Harry, a princess, whatever. I don't care. One of them was on Scrubs, I think, or not Scrubs, Suits, I think.
Suits. Meghan Markle, shout out.
I just don't care. One of them's dead. One of them's got cancer. One of them's a conspiracy. I don't care. I've never cared. I don't. Completely different country. It's all crap anyway. They don't do anything. They don't rule the country anymore.
Yeah.
They're just complete figureheads, and I don't understand why anybody cares about them. So. Dude. That's my second pick.
I'm totally on board with that. Now, my next pick definitely gonna ruffle some feathers out there. And I'm gonna go with whatever the hell Taylor Swift is up to. These Swifties are insane, Tanner. We've talked about it in the NFL season when Travis Kelce started dating Miss Swift, but you always knew the Swifties were around. Like it's always been a thing. But since it's kind of entered my world of sports, I've realized how freaking nuts
they're nuts. They're nuts.
I mean, you got Taylor Swift flight trackers on. Yeah. It's just absolutely insane. The fact people obsessed with her, like it's just weird. I know I'm gonna get flamed for this. This might be our viral moment, but yes, whatever the hell Taylor Swift is up to is definitely a thing I do not care about.
Great pick.
Yeah, so that's my second pick. My third pick, there's a lot. This is another thing I just don't care about. I understand why people do care about this, but I'm gonna have to do it, Tanner. I'm gonna go Marvel movies. I just don't get it. And I've seen some, so you can't bash me for that. But obviously, it's a cult classic. It's the reason movie theaters are still around. Let's put it how it is. But I just don't get it. But I understand why people do. So that's my third pick there. What's your next pick?
That's fair. Obviously, I personally disagree, but it's all good. So my next pick, I'm gonna go. Is this something a little bit more general? Small talk. And specifically what I mean by that is like, you go and meet with one of your buddies and you come home and your mom or your wife or whatever is like, oh, well, how's Johnny? And you're like, oh, he's good. Oh, how are his kids? I don't know.
Yeah.
How's his work?
I
don't know. Did he get that new job? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, then what did you talk about? Important stuff. Like how's the Paul George signing fit into the Philadelphia 76ers? Run for is OG Anunoby overpaid? Like, how's Tim Lester going to take this Iowa offense. That's what guys talk about.
What's up with Hawk to a girl? You know, this is the important things.
But yeah, dude. Every time it's like the small talk of the job, the how's this? I don't know. That's just not what guys talk about. So I'm gonna go with general small talk on my next pick.
And like another aspect to small talk, obviously you have it with your friend, but like when you're in a drive-through and you're like, the person's like, "What are you up to this weekend?"
Yes, I wanted to hit on that next.
Don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're in the drive-through. Yeah, what are you doing? Whatever. Yeah, they're just like, so how are you? We don't do this. We don't do this. Just give me my food. Like,
yeah,
totally. So small talk to me, I just don't care about it. I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't care about you. You don't care about me. Give me my food. Give me whatever, and we'll be on our way.
Yeah.
So that's my third pick. My fourth pick. Okay, this is a good one. Something I pretty much ignore every time. Don't care. Apple Watch fitness notifications. Take a second to breathe. What the hell are you talking about? I don't care. Stop it. I ignore it. It's like,
it's time to stand.
Nope. I ain't standing. All of that's, you're so close. Don't care. Yesterday, you were farther along on your rings by now. Don't care. Don't care. Not gonna care. So the Apple Watch fitness notifications for me are always just ignored. Don't care about them.
That's a really good one. I like that pick a lot because I definitely ignore the shit out of this for sure. This is where it gets a little dicey, man. My next one, I still got a lot on the board.
So these are your final two picks here.
These are my final two picks. Next one. What do we go here? I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go Drake's new music.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's
good.
Everybody says, oh my God, Drake. That's good. Drake just dropped this banger of an album. No misses. Just unbelievable. Greatest album of all time.
That's a great one.
There's gonna be like maybe one song.
Dude.
Maybe one song.
Like the whole rap beef. Like
the rap beef.
Who cares? That's a good one.
Don't care.
Dude, I should have thought of rap beef. That's a good one.
Don't care about it at all. So that's definitely one I just do not give a shit about. And then my final pick. Now I'm just gonna say it. Then you got Fortnite dub. Don't care. Don't care. And I am guilty of this. I am guilty of this. If you post now when it came out, I was down with it. But this game has been out for like 5-6 years. No one cares. Literally no one. Literally no one. I'm not the only one that doesn't care. I promise you that. But I see those occasionally. I'm like, all right, I don't care. And it has like their kills too. I'm like, sick, dude. You got 25 kills. Hell yeah.
You're the coolest. That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. And I love the caveat, like, oh, if we get a win, that's immediately going off. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it has to. But yes, that's a great one. You're planning for your 401k and posting Fortnite dubs. Like, what's going on here? That's great. Oh, that is great. But my last one, it's kind of along the same lines of like the rap beef. But I just had like celebrity relationships, like romantic relationships. Like, I don't care who's dating who in the celebrity realm. I don't care. What?
Sydney Sweeney? You don't care?
Really.
I totally get that. And obviously this is definitely electrified or made bigger by the Taylor Swift. And I mean, the Kardashians are famous because they date famous people.
Yeah, like the damn Jenners, dude. Like I can't keep them track. Travis Scott was there at one point. Timothy Chalamet, I think. I don't know.
I'm not even gonna try.
But
yeah, that's definitely a good one for
and
sure.
everyone these people broke up. These people, I just don't. As long as they continue, if they're an
Ben
actor,
Affleck and J-Lo are on the rocks.
A-Rod and J-Lo, Ben Affleck and J-Lo. Man, I just don't care.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Those are our picks. So
yeah,
should we go over some honorable mentions before we run the just say them again so we can refresh the memory of all 5 in a row. But yeah, so you got any honorable mentions here?
Yeah, I got a couple. Whatever the hell the Kardashians are up to. That was on my list. Yeah. The newest Call of Duty.
It's over.
It's over. It's been over since like Black Ops 2.
It was over after Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2.
Yeah. Other people's work problem. Sorry. Call me heartless. Don't really care. And then other people's relationship issues.
Yeah.
I'll listen. Depends who you are. But if like a stranger is talking to me about that, I don't care. So and then finally, this will come as a shocker to absolutely nobody that's ever listened to this podcast. Major League Baseball. Do not care. Do not care. Do not care. But those are kind of the honorable mentions I got.
Yeah, no doubt. Some of my other ones, I think specifically, this one was a little too niche. That's why I didn't say it, but it's definitely worth putting on there for anyone who's worked a corporate job, like corporate profit numbers. They email you. They're like, our profit is down 2%. Like, are they expecting me to like lose sleep? Like, am I supposed to like stay the extra half an hour? Be like, oh shit, we can't lose another 2% next year. Like,
yeah,
this like I just don't care. Yeah, I do my work. You pay me for it. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's where this starts and stops. Like, I do not care. Talking about TV a little bit, and specifically, obviously, one of the biggest things going on right now in TV is, of course, House of the Dragon, and this is a good example of this. But like the book people, where every single thing they say. Oh, well, actually, in the book is this. Oh, actually, this is how they do in the book. Oh, did you know the book is better? Like so much of TV and movies are based on books. And they have to tell you every time how the book is better, how this is how it happens in the books. I don't care. I just don't. And people say, oh, the book is better. You know why the book is not better? The movie's better? Because I don't have to read the movie. I can watch the movie. That's why the movie's better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just you can have your little books. That's cool. But every single time, book's better. This happens in the book. Shut up. Don't care.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That's a great one.
Yeah. And then the other one I had here was politics, which you said. Those were my two honorable mentions.
Yeah. I think we killed it.
I think so too. Just run back your 5 real quick.
My 5, politics, whatever the hell Taylor Swift is up to. Marvel movies, Drake's new music, and your Fortnite dubs.
that one gets me every time. My 5 are astrology and zodiac signs, the royal family, small talk, Apple Watch, fitness notifications, and then celebrity romantic relationships. I think that's a good list.
That's a good one.
I think that's
what a banger to kick us off, man.
Yeah, I think so too. But let us know if you have any ideas of what else we should do. These get pretty fun as we get into the dog days of summer. And as Sam so eloquently put, that baseball might not be the top of mind for some during the dead heat of summer. But before we wrap up the episode, we do have one question. This one from Brandon Martelli. Of course, he wants to know, with the new NCAA Football 25 game coming out, and as someone who's new to the game and to college football, in our opinion, what are some fun or like even challenging teams to start a dynasty with? Because obviously the main mode here is dynasty, and you probably don't want to go in with Alabama, Georgia, all of them, and be, hey, who should, just make a dynasty with Georgia? Which I could probably do that. And I play sports video games. So Yes, and I'm going to default to you on this one. Definitely our sports video game consultant, and specifically NCAA college football consultant.
Yeah, great timing for this question. I actually pre-ordered it today, so absolute banger of a question. I'm kind of gonna split his question up for some fun teams. I think James Madison Dukes is going to be a very fun team. They went 11-1 last year. They're part of the Sun Belt Fun Belt. So if you're looking for a fun avenue when it comes to dynasty, that is definitely one that's going to be on the top of my list. For some more challenging ones, I mean, you've listened to the podcast enough. I mean, great defense, great special teams, just a god awful offense.
Offense will be a chore.
You know that. Now this would be really challenging because this team is in the SEC, and I'm gonna go with my home state, Arkansas. They have a good history, but have been in shambles as lately. Under Houston Nutt and Petrino from 98 to 11, they were 109 and 63 and 13 years. Since 2012, they've had five coaches, and they are 60 and 87 in 12 years. So that would be challenging. They're in absolute shambles. Sam Pittman's a terrible coach. He's losing recruits left and right. And you now have Oklahoma and Texas to compete against in regards to recruiting. And then final one, this is a fun yet challenging. That's Kennesaw State Owls. It's their first year in the FBS.
Good.
So what better way to lead them to glory in their first year in the FBS? So those are some options, but honestly, I think if you don't pick Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, those teams, you're going to have a blast with this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think you kind of hit on the two just general schools of thought. You could go good group of five, James Madison, Memphis, even
Coastal Carolina,
with
that sweet turf,
Tulane, any of those, or you could go bad Power Five.
Yeah.
Sorry, all those Arkansas. I think Vanderbilt too is another one. Like obviously, just Vanderbilt football has been awful.
Yeah, or take a Pac-2 team.
To build out a schedule. That's impossible. Task number one. Play 12 games with Oregon State. But yeah, if you're someone like Vanderbilt, you have to play Georgia, you have to play Alabama, you have to play Auburn, all these teams, and you suck.
Yeah.
In the SEC, or I'm trying to think of another awful Power Five off the top of my head. Wow.
I mean,
Arizona State, maybe.
Arizona State.
I guess Arizona had a pretty good.
Colorado.
Not
great.
That's
16th best team.
Sure.
Yeah. But they are projected to finish 11th in the Big 12. Yep. So yeah, it's going to be fun. You can't go wrong with either of those kind of teams for sure.
No doubt about it. That game should be absolutely awesome, and can't wait till it drops. But that's going to do it for episode 135. Special shout out to Joseph Weinsinger for coming on, talking a little footy. Of course, we talked about NBA free agency, started with our winners and losers, talked that soccer, and of course, rounded out the episode. Or we did our new Gimme Five Mount Rushmore combo draft thing of things we don't care about, and then of course rounded out with the question about NCAA Football 25. But make sure you follow the podcast at crunchtime_pod on X, TikTok, and Instagram. Follow the YouTube Crunch Time with the N326 duo, and check out our new studio with our new little desk here, better lighting, and all of that good stuff. But the clock has run out on this episode, and we'll see you in the next one on Crunch Time.
Yark.